Hello, everyone, and welcome to OSC Live, a weekly broadcast on blockchain, branded tokens, and token economies. And we like to feature weekly guests here on the show to discuss blockchain, the latest in blockchain, and the projects that they are working on. And with us today, we have Glen Hendricks. He manages the Ostodians Telegram channel, which is the unofficial OSC Telegram channel, and it has over 2,000 members, I think. Last I checked, which is a pretty good amount of Ostonians. And Glen is also working on a couple of things that we're going to discuss today, such as community as a service. But let me introduce Glen. Glen, thank you for joining us today.
Hello, and yeah, thank you for having me.
So we'll start off with your background. You had your early career was in healthcare consulting. So can you tell us about your background and how you bumped into blockchain and sort of fell down this rabbit hole of wanting to learn more about blockchain and actually being involved in the space?
Yeah, like you said, jumping down the rabbit hole, that's about accurate. Well, I've been in healthcare basically since I was 18 years old. So that's for about 20 years now. And for the past couple of years, I started thinking, well, I've never, quite got a handle on learning economics or anything to do with the financial markets. So I got into trading, first learning technical analysis, learning how to trade, stuff like that. And I started trading derivatives. And it was through trading these derivatives that actually I got onto Bitcoin. It usually starts with Bitcoin for everybody, right? So there was a derivative called Bitcoin Index. And this was before all these trading derivatives or crypto-based derivatives were actually, scrutinized. So I started trading that Bitcoin Index derivative, and that actually piqued my interest. Like, what is this thing actually? What is cryptocurrency, or what is blockchain? Now, for me, coming from a healthcare background, I'm not a programmer, I'm not a developer, never was in IT. It was very abstract to get my head around at first. It took me a good 2 to 3 months to actually, to finally make it click. And then once you get it, it's like never, you can never go back. Like, what was it, taking the red pill in a matrix? That was what it was like, basically. And that got me more into, finding out what projects there were, different kind of ICOs were going on at the time. And actually, started paying notice to ICOs that were being launched more, and seeing them as, hey, people are actually investing in this. Could that be an investing opportunity? And that actually got me to OSC's ICO. And that was, I believe, October 2017. And so I joined the ICO for OST, and that landed me in their Telegram group. And, now here we are. That's the very short version. There's more to it, of course. But that's what got me into blockchain. Yeah. Trading derivatives.
That's very interesting. So you were trading before everybody started trading in the crypto.
Exactly. Exactly. And it was horrifying for me to witness, what these people were getting themselves into, trying to day trade crypto, such a volatile market. And volatility is good for traders, but people that, the whole mantra was just easy, just, buy low, sell high. People had no idea what they were doing, and they were throwing thousands around, and everybody thought they were a genius in the bull market, of course. But, the guys that have traded derivatives or the Forex markets, they knew what was up, Yeah.
Great. I think there was a lot of lessons learned there for the people that got into it and sort of did things or bought or purchased tokens without doing any initial research. So what was the time frame, between getting into Bitcoin and learning about the OST ICO? So that was, you got in you found out about it pretty early, right? So October was when they first when OST first had the
yeah,
launch
exactly.
ICO?
Exactly. I think I found it through the Bitcoin Talk forum at the time, which I was very active on at the time, but now it's, oh God, it's like all over the place. It's a mess. So I don't visit that often anymore. But yeah, the time in between me learning or hearing blockchain for the first time, or hearing Bitcoin for the first time, towards participating in the OST ICO, that was about, I don't know, about 6 months. Yeah, about 6 months.
So during the ICO, was there, how did OST compare to other projects out there? Was there something, because, you're still a big part of OST. You're very engaged with the project today, over a year later. So what was it about OST that sort of stood out to you to want to stay with, and be engaged with the project?
Well, that awareness and that click, thinking like, wow, these guys are really onto something here. That actually, it was a process. It's kind of like being on a spectrum, because at first it was just like, oh, what is there not to like? It's called Simple Token. They're making it easy for everyone, and that, of course, is still a huge part of what they're actually trying to achieve. And but once you get active in a community and you start learning actually through the community more about, well, making up use cases. Do you realize that if you can tokenize such and such an actions, and what it could do for that app? And that actually got us all stimulated and thinking, wow, this is, yes, they're actually onto something. And as it matured, with the token rules contracts, the key management system and stuff like that, that is, they're realizing that not everybody, the road to making crypto adoption mainstream, nobody's going to mess around with a 50, 60 character private key. You have to have something simple in between. And that's basically their selling point, where not only for people who are going to use those branded tokens, but the people building the solutions is going to be made easy for everybody. Because what they're offering is, okay, here is, say you're a company, you've got an app, you want to leverage blockchain, you want to tokenize that app, because that way you can incentivize your users, to incentivize certain behavior, that app using behavior. But now what? You have to do an ICO. You have to hire blockchain developers. You have to do this. You have to do that. It's all, people just want to build their product and want to build their customer base. And, blockchain developer is about, what is it these days? $200,000 a year salary. And they're very hard to come by. And not only that, the whole regulatory scrutiny is getting, is increasing, is getting more and more and more. And with OST, companies can just, well, I just pay that much for my OST. I just mint my tokens and get going, because you got this whole suite, of software solutions that comes together in OST Kit that just makes it easy, to create, not only create that token, because everybody's going, well, you can create your token in a matter of a minute, literally, with that such and such a platform. But it's not just about creating the token. It's about creating the token and creating a whole branded token economy around that and managing that economy. And that's exactly the tools that OST Kit gives you, in a very easy to use way. Your app builder can just, plug in the APIs, use the SDK, plug it all in, and there you go.
Yeah, and it's in the name, Simple Token. And last year, that's something that stood out to me. Being able to implement a token economy into an existing business, so without that business having to go through an ICO. Because last year around this time, it didn't really make sense to me how everybody was just doing an ICO, and sometimes it didn't make sense. So can you tell us about your involvement with the Telegram community? So when did you decide to start the Estonians community?
Well, I didn't start it. You know, at first when I got into that Telegram group, it was called Simple Token Traders, and have to give a shout out to Sid. Sid, where are you? He's the one that actually he founded that group, that Telegram group, and it was called Simple Token Traders at the time because, and that's still the rules for the official OST community today, and rightfully so. They don't allow speculative talk. They don't allow trading talk, and that's of course, you know, for obvious reasons. But that made it so that there was actually a community need for a place where that was allowed. You know, so at first it was called Simple Token Traders, and yeah, well, that was basically what the name implies. It was, you know, trading talk mostly and price talk. But then over time, that cultivated into product talk, use cases talk, you know, and by the end of it, it was actually the most informed and the most active and motivated community, you know, albeit small. Comparatively, it was one of the most productive communities, you know, in blockchain. You know, I believe about 90% of the proof of concept from the proof of concept challenges that OSC held came from the Estonians community. You know, it was a very high participation degree. Yeah.
Yeah, and OC is very thankful to have such an engaged community, be, you know, a very strong and engaged part of the project, especially for those of you who were involved in the alpha challenges. So what can, say, somebody that's new to the OSC project, what can they hope to see or find in the Estonian Telegram community if they were to join today?
If they were joining today, with any Telegram community, as soon as the bear market hits, you know, the engagement level goes down a bit. That's just the way it is, you know, and you have to find the time actually to, you know, because why do people join communities? They join them because they can extract value from them, you know, whether it's increasing their own standing of value within the community or extracting valuable information. That means useful information. So there has to be content on there. There has to be engaging discussions in there. You know, people and conversations need to be there. You know, they need to feel connected to people, connected to the brand, basically, and have useful information in there. You know, stuff that they didn't know before. And that's when I found that once I, you know, got into that role that came so naturally to me, I noticed that people were responding very well to what I delivered. And that was basically mostly centered around connecting people and education. You know, getting conversations started, getting ideas started. Yeah.
So how long have you been managing the Telegram channel?
Well, that's about over a year now, I guess. About a year, yeah.
And how's that been so far? Just, you know, throughout the year, has obviously, as you mentioned, in a bear market, some people lose interest in any project. But how's your experience been managing that, you know, this year compared to last year?
Yeah, it has been a bit quieter this year, but I found that if you keep providing value, that's it. You're going to keep people engaged, and you're going to keep people in the community. You know, it's yeah, you have to provide value. You know, get conversations going, get content in, get educational pieces in. You know, because it was basically at the start when it was still simple token traders. You know, it took a while. It was not, you know, it was sort of a reflex at first. You know, me coming from a background of healthcare, there was always very much emphasis on communication and most of all education. You know, it's information transference. That's key in healthcare when one-on-one contact with patients. You know, trying to bring across something that's first unfamiliar and abstract, and repackage that, re-aggregate that into something that, you know, the person on the other end of the table can easily digest and understand. You know, and it's you know, it's not just information transference. It's connecting with people, finding out, you know, what value means to them, what makes it click for them, you know, and what moves them, and then using that. It has to be a capturing story. And, you know, in basically in that function, that became me as kind of a spokesperson for the Estonians channel. And I had various roles. You were a community builder, you were a community manager, a community liaison, a community brander even, and a community motivator. You know, it was first Simple Token Traders, and then I branded that to Estonians. You know, that's what I used to call the community participants were Estonians. You know, that gives it a certain identity.
Great, and I'm sure you've learned a lot of things along the way over the past years, and you also have communications experience in healthcare even before Estonians, and today it has over 2,000 members, and that's I would say that's significant. So, did you have any growth strategies in mind to building a community when you first joined the community about a year ago?
It was not a whole conscious approach at first. You know, it was not a deliberate approach at first. You know, at first it was just working with the people in there and providing content, providing insights, valuable discussion, education. You know, it was also community outreach, motivating the community to partake in certain, I don't know, community assignments, you know, to get the word out there. And also outreach to OST partners, like members from TribeCoin, from Wooshi, you know, engaging with the CEOs and seeing, you know, getting an AMA with them and getting some information so I could do an article on them, and then spreading that around and then discussing use cases. But as you know, as to getting more members in from the outside of the community, that was basically from Twitter, from Reddit, and basically at that time, whenever there was trading talk or people had speculative questions within the official OST community, we would always say, hey, it's not allowed here, but come over to the Estonians community, you know, we can talk, we can, you know, we can discuss these matters more freely. You know, and I always use that to, you know, educate them more about what OST actually is, because it is quite a bit to wrap your head around at first. And people always ask about what exactly it is. And can anybody explain that to me in one sentence? And I'm like, God, one sentence. All right. You know, this, and basically, you know, all it comes down to is they allow any company to leverage blockchain without hiring any blockchain developers. That's basically the essence, you know, but please read these articles, watch these videos, you know, ask us questions, because there's a bit more to it.
Great. And you've also, yeah, I would agree with you there that so people first come to any project with a very speculative mindset, and they have a lot of questions. And I think that's the smart thing to do, to have a separate community apart from the company, which allows people to discuss things more freely, and everybody contributes their own you know, their own 2 cents on what on any company update or anything in regards to the project. So what would you suggest, you know, say there's companies today that are barely getting involved in blockchain, they're barely starting up their community, Telegram community. What advice do you have for the companies that are starting today to want to build a community? So I guess another way to phrase it was, if you were able to give yourself advice a year ago from today, what would that be?
So let's say a blockchain company, or any company for that matter, wants to start a branded community, right? That's basically the question. Is basically what it comes down to: outsource it. Outsource it. You know, you're seeing all these. When you look up companies and you see their stack, it's always filled with technological solutions. They use Twilio, they use Stripe, they use AWS. You know, all that kind of stuff gets outsourced, and even community as a service, and that's still a very a narrow field, very young field. And even if you look for community as a service, all those solutions are actually built around just providing a company with a software platform, but they still have to do the community work themselves. And I'm not a real believer in that. These are soft skills. Soft skills. Most of the stuff and my approach in building the Estonians community, that was a process of an amalgamation of my previous work experiences and skills. Also in music production, audio and video production, combine that with 20 years of being a healthcare consultant and with a heavy emphasis on communication and education. That's developing soft skills. And I believe that there is a market for outsourcing actual community, and to make that part of your stack. You focus on the product, you outsource the community, let the community building, the community involving, the community participation, the education, let someone else pull that together, and that's actually what I've been working on in the past few months. Is actually, I was taking a step back to actually look at what I had, what it actually was that I delivered there, because it was a reflex at first. And then I thought, well, wait a minute, what I actually was providing was community as a service, for the Estonians community, without me knowing it at first. And as I said, I was taking on many roles. It wouldn't just classify it as me being a community manager. You're an educator, a motivator, a liaison between partners and company and, the community. And not only was it providing community as a service, but I was providing it in a certain package. Me with my background, my skills, and actually Telegram as a central hub. And this is a thing that blockchain companies, they're, more aware of the fact that you can build communities within Telegram. You practically don't need much else. But many companies out there, like SMEs, when you go to their web page, and once I got a hang of Telegram and I looked for companies and I went to their web page and didn't see a button down there for their Telegram channel, I was like, what? These guys don't get it. Where's the direct access to the community, to the company? Where can I learn more in a direct way? Because their community makes use of all these different platforms, is scattered all over the place. Their data is not simplified. When you funnel it all down into Telegram, there's a lot, if not most, you can do with Telegram. You're getting all your people and conversations in one place. And they have yet to learn that that is a very direct way of engaging community, in a very direct way, and to offer value to them. But I don't think it's something they should be doing themselves. They're emotionally tied to their product. Outsource it.
Great. And I would agree with you there. Every company should focus on their directly on their service or product, just like OST allows other companies to not have to worry about blockchain engineers, and they can focus on their product. I think it's very interesting that you brought up to outsource it and let the company focus on building its product.
Yeah, because especially blockchain communities, they can be very demanding. It's a full-time thing, and it requires, like I said, certain soft skills and being able to read people, and provide them with value and distinguish what's valuable to them, but only, not only communicating with them, not only managing the conversation. You need to lead the conversation. You need to inspire, you need to motivate, you need to keep it going, you need to show an interest into people, connect them with each other, as for the company as well. And the community as a service, the one providing it should also give direct access to, the company. People want to know, increasingly so, they require a more open approach from companies. They don't want these closed off systems, and blockchain is very leading in that regard with, people having a more direct channel towards the company, and wanting to know, hey, what's the people behind this company and whether they like, and we want to know more, much more open approach.
Great. And I lost my train of thought here. So with community as a service, does that go beyond Telegram, or do you think Telegram is the place to be right now, or the most direct way to touch base with the community?
Yeah, I think Telegram is the most direct way. It's a safe environment. It's a direct access to your community as well as company. It's already in their pocket on their phone. You can't have it much easier than that. There's no software maintenance required. Companies don't have to buy software packages. They just buy your service, your soft skills, and your ability to pull that all together. Telegram is, for me, much more than a simple messaging service. It's a platform to actually deliver community in a box.
Great, yeah. That's quite interesting. So are the terms community as a service and community in a box, are they pretty interchangeable, or? Not
exactly, because like I said, they're correlated, they're connected to each other, but they're not the same, because the thing is, community as a service is a service, community as a service, but the product is community in a box. That's what I will be delivering. That's what I'm working towards, building that company. And community as a service, the field as it is now is just based on offering software solutions so that companies can still build their communities themselves and do all the work that surrounds that themselves. Whereas community as a box is basically a product that pours in, all these different services and roles that you take on and offer that as a whole package. It's community in a box. It's storytelling, it's engagement, it's education, it's connecting people to people, it's getting the conversation started, organizing community events. It's the whole mix.
Very, very, very interesting. So are you seeing other companies that have created community as a service today? Do you see this as what do you see the future of community as a service, and how soon do you think we'll start seeing something like that? I assume it'll go further into just a business that manages somebody else's Telegram community.
Yeah. I think that's very early days, but we're moving towards that, where, executives are looking more to outsource that. Because when you think of it, we live in pretty exponential times. The technology is moving faster and faster and faster, and it's giving us a lot of opportunities, but also a lot to deal with, a lot to take in, a lot we have to get into, and a lot of distractions. Any executive now is facing, well, you got to have your digital strategy sorted. You have to have big data strategy sorted. You have to do blockchain. You have to do AI. You have to. And they're like, it's all too much. You're seeing an increasing trend in companies outsourcing whatever they can. That's very prevalent when you look at all these stacks. And that's why OST is on the right path here. It's basically outsourcing that. OST becomes part of your stack. You're outsourcing tokenization, a blockchain, a blockchain solution for your app.
Great, yeah, and I think specialization helps the economy be more efficient. Just like outsourcing community, give it to somebody that's specialized in it, that can do it well. So is this something that you're gonna keep working towards and going on forward?
Yeah. That is something I'm actually, with my work that I've done in basically community building, community education so far, has basically also expanded my network. and brought me together with, people from Disruption Disciples, but also Thomas Power. And, you start conversations with these people, and, you start building ideas with these people. And it was actually through those talks, once you start reiterating that, and Thomas himself said as well that, this is, in essence, this is a product. The way you have delivered it, that is a product. And that's when I realized, it is community as a service, but it's in a certain mold. It's community in a box. It delivers community straight to your pocket. It's mobile, it's secure, nothing else needed.
Great. And Thomas Powers does have some interesting ideas. He also, we had him on the show previously talking about token as a service. For those of you that want to check out that episode, be sure to check out our playlist for Thomas Power. But I guess we'll move on to the Reddit questions that you guys submitted. So thank you for those of you who went onto our Reddit and submitted a question for Glen. So Glen, are you ready for some Reddit questions?
Yeah, just one more question. Do you have the guys have enough light on me here, because it's getting pretty dark here? I can switch on the other light.
Sure, you can.
Is that okay? Yeah. All right. Give me a second.
Yeah, I'm just gonna pull up the questions. Great. So our first question is from Pete, 3210.
Hey, Pete.
And so the question is, what do you think are the top 3 reasons why a business should use OST?
The top 3. Well, the obvious one is you can save yourself a ton of time, resources, and money, which is obviously a resource, because you don't have to hire blockchain developers, right? The whole selling point is that you don't have to build anything yourself. Just like these websites implementing their payment solutions, they don't go building it themselves. They just plug in Stripe, and they can save themselves a ton of time, developing costs, and everything like that. So that's basically the huge selling point. Yeah, you don't have to build it yourself from scratch. We've done it. Here's the package. Here's the kit. You can manage it all with this kit.
Great. And thank you, Pete, for submitting that question. So next up, we have a question from Lawrence W76. And the question is, could you describe an idealistic or best case scenario for a company launching a tokenized economy, with zooming in on what the critical milestones would be?
That's a huge one. An ideal situation of a company. See, that's a difficult question, because there are so many apps out there. I would say any app-based company that you want to increase your engagement with your customers, incentivize certain behavior, that's an ideal scenario for OST. That makes it a practical use case, because then you can tokenize your app and actually incentivize certain behavior. Yeah.
Great. And some examples and use cases are some of OST's partners. Was previously partners like Unsplash and PassKit, and we've done some case studies on why or how tokenization will impact their business and their business model. So that can be found on our Medium if you want to see more examples on use cases for why one would want to tokenize or include tokenization in their business.
Yeah, great example in the beginning. I thought always was TribeCoin. Basically providing a platform where companies and evangelists can come together, and it's basically you scratch my back, I scratch your back. We got these challenges, these bounties that you can earn tokens with, and you make a community generated, a piece of content. It could be a YouTube clip or write a piece or whatever, and that earns you tokens. It's basically a whole different way of approaching what do you call it, engagement, community engagement, but also marketing.
Great. And yeah, that's Chivecoin was a early was engaged early in OST, and I think in the future we'll be doing on a case study on them as well.
Yeah. I would like to see them reach out actually, but of course that's my opinion. It would be a shame to just limit that to beauty and food. You know, it's just kind of a sector they're in, and I would actually branch that out all over the place. Yeah, that's really was a really forward-thinking use case.
Yeah, and I think with the implementation of tokens, we're going to see some new types of business models out there, especially for fully decentralized applications. But we'll move on to our next question, which is from Kid Token. Kid Token has been very engaged in the community, and thank you, Kid Token, for being a strong part of OST. So the question from Kid Token is: we would be interested in hearing from Glen discuss some real-world business examples, how these businesses could benefit from OST, such as what they're doing currently to grow community and incentivize a user base, and what tokenization and OST can offer. So I think
I love Kid Token. Hi, Scott. Anyway, that's a good question. The example I always pull up is Medium. I've actually went out of my way to actually do a whole proof of concept on how you can actually create a better Medium platform. And this is the case with any app or platform. You want users to contribute value, right? But also be able to extract value. It's that way with software platforms, with websites, with communities, with everything. Value is contributed and value is extracted. And the way you can tokenize Medium, is tokenized claps. Now they have a very opaque process where, if paying members that have a subscription for Medium, when they clap an article, part of their subscription cost goes towards the writer of the article. But where can we see that? How's that process? It's not transparent. It's not, when you have on-chain transactions, it's very clear and transparent where the money goes, and it's a more direct form of rewarding. Say I have a Medium that is tokenized, a Medium platform that's tokenized, and I have my own Medium wallet. It's got clap tokens in there, and it's very direct. I give 5 claps to a certain article that I like that provided value for me, and that writer gets rewarded with 5 clap tokens that comes out of my wallet straight to him. It's all auditable on chain, and it's very direct. And you can actually make use of that to engage certain behavior as well, or to inspire certain behavior. You can, for instance, reward getting new people onto the platform by rewarding tokens for certain affiliate programs. People can buy their tokens or earn their tokens. In both ways, value gets contributed to the platform. That can be in the form of money or in the form of effort. Write a good article, you get rewarded, you get your tokens, or people who want to reward other people buy their tokens or earn their tokens through these affiliate programs, which also incidentally grows the platform.
Great, and I think Medium is a good example. And thank you, Glen, for providing great responses to these answers. And we have one last question from Kid Token. And he asked, would the OSC team and Glen consider collaborating on a complementary show to OSC Live, a YouTube-based OST series that focuses on alpha teams as well as early OST partners, such as Unsplash, and their growth and adoption of OST as they scale together? So I guess this is a question for OST as well. And yeah, I'll bring this up to the team.
Jose, that you and I would have to collaborate, man. No, I know this is Scott asking this question. I know for sure. But, he knows the way I feel about that. It's I think it's a great idea. I don't know if it's my place to do so, but it's I think it's definitely something OSCs should be getting into, because that's also community building right there.
Great. And we do try to provide updates on certain partners with the case studies on OSC Live. But if there's any partners or companies that you guys would like to see sort of an update on, we can definitely reach out to them to have them come back on OSC Live to sort of follow up and see where the progress is with their project. But Glenn, I want to end with this. You also post videos on YouTube, and they're very instructional, and I've actually used the video about the staking and minting, so a very thorough walkthroughs. So can you tell us about what else you're involved in, and where people can find you?
Well, people can always find me in the Ausonians community, but they can find me on Twitter. It's just at Glen Hendricks. I'm Glen Hendricks everywhere. I don't have some kind of pseudonym or some kind of alias. I'm just Glen Hendricks everywhere. I'm Glen Hendricks on LinkedIn, on Twitter. You can find me on YouTube, Telegram. I'm in different communities on Telegram. But if you visit the Ausonians channel, you can find me there. Visit my Twitter at Glen Hendricks. Hit me up if you have any questions. You can find me there. Basically, one more thing. When that kind of content, what we just discussed, that kind of community engagement, that's actually when you're a part of the community, because community is also a two-way street. I provided value for the community, but the community also gave back. I was able to build a product around it. And it actually, through being in a community of OSC, it actually cut my teeth on what proper tokenomics actually should be. And that's great. And by being actually, yes, I was a spokesperson for the community, and I had an educative role, and I was a community manager, but you're also inherently part of the community. And by being in the community, you also get a very good sense on what the community needs are, and that's great for producing your ideas, for community engagement, community building. And that's also where these questions from Scott arise, because we know that we would love, the community would love those kind of videos where it's just, whether it's fireside chats or whatever, video storytelling about the partners, about community members, for instance, community members, partners, the members of the company, Yeah.
Great. And thank you, Glenn, again for joining us today. I thought this was a very insightful episode on community building, especially over the, discussing some of the things you've learned over the past years in a blockchain-oriented business. And for those of you watching live, you guys are the community, and you guys are giving back to OSC with your time. So thank you all that are joining us today. So I'm going to give some shout outs to Maxim, Kid Token, as always, Kid Token. I was watching our live streams.
You guys rock.
Crypto Talk, and yeah, thank you all for joining us live. I'll go ahead and right after this live stream ends, I'll add the links to Glen's. We have the Estonians Telegram channel in the description right now, but I'll add the links to Glen's Twitter and YouTube channel, as well as any other social media as mentioned. Yeah. So Glen, thank you again for joining us on OSC Live.
It was a pleasure, Jose. Thanks for having me. And I would recommend everybody to keep an eye out on my channels, because over the course of the next few weeks, I will be actually defining what community in a box actually is. And I will be giving people more about community in a box. So keep your eyes peeled, keep your ears open, stay safe.
Great. So stay updated, guys. We'll see you guys next week. We have another interview Wednesday, same time. Thank you all for joining us.
Thanks.